Ever felt confused or guilty after a conversation and not even sure why? If so, you might be experiencing manipulation. And the scary part is, most people don't realize it until it's deeply affecting their confidence, their decisions, and even their identity. Manipulation isn't always loud or obvious. In fact, it often hides behind charm, concern, or even love. It can come from a partner, a friend, a boss, or even a family member. And when you're in the middle of it, the signs can be incredibly hard to spot. That's why in this episode, we're breaking down 10 specific signs, psychological red flags, that reveal you're being manipulated. Some are subtle, others are more toxic, but all of them are designed to make you doubt yourself and give up your power. By the end of this video, you'll know how to spot manipulation fast and what to do if you recognize it in your own life. Let's jump in. Manipulation is when someone tries to control or influence your thoughts, emotions, or actions, not through honesty or direct communication, but by using subtle pressure, guilt, or deception. Unlike healthy influence, which respects your autonomy, manipulation is about getting what they want, regardless of how it affects you. It's important to understand that manipulation doesn't always look evil or aggressive. In fact, it often shows up as concern, affection, or even helpfulness. That's what makes it so hard to recognize. At its core, manipulation is about power, shifting the balance in their favor by making you question yourself, feel indebted, or act out of fear or obligation. Whether it's emotional manipulation in a relationship, psychological games at work, or guilt-tripping from a friend, the result is the same. You're left feeling unsure, drained, and controlled. Now that we've defined it, let's look at the first clear indicator. Indicator number 1, they make you doubt your reality, gaslighting. One of the most dangerous forms of manipulation is gaslighting, a tactic where someone makes you question your memory, perception, or sanity. It often sounds like this: "You always twist things. Stop being so dramatic. You're just being paranoid." Over time, this kind of messaging chips away at your confidence. You might start thinking, "Maybe I did overreact," or "I guess I remembered it wrong." But the truth is, you probably didn't. Gaslighting isn't always about outright lies. Sometimes it's the intentional distortion of facts, like denying things they clearly said or rewriting history to make you feel like the problem. The goal? To gain control by making you doubt your own reality, so you'll rely on theirs instead. This can happen in romantic relationships, friendships, and even the workplace. And the more it happens, the more you stop trusting your own judgment. If you often find yourself apologizing for things you're not sure you even did, or feeling crazy in certain conversations, that's not just miscommunication, it could be manipulation. If this is already hitting home, go ahead and hit like. It helps more people find this and lets me know to keep making content like this. And gaslighting is just the beginning. Let's move on to the next red flag. Indicator number 2, excessive guilt tripping. Manipulators love to use guilt as a weapon because it works. Guilt tripping is when someone makes you feel bad for not doing what they want, even if you've done nothing wrong. It sounds like, "I guess I just can't do anything right. I should have known you'd let me down. I'm not angry, just disappointed. Wow, I guess I just don't matter to you anymore. I thought you cared, but I guess I was wrong." The message is clear: you're the bad guy, and unless you do what they want, you're selfish, ungrateful, or cruel. This kind of emotional manipulation puts you in a no-win situation. You either comply or you carry the weight of their disappointment. Over time, you may find yourself constantly trying to make it up to them, even when you've done nothing wrong. That's how guilt becomes a control tactic. It shifts the focus away from their behavior and turns the spotlight onto you. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding, not emotional blackmail. If someone consistently uses your kindness, empathy, or loyalty against you, it's not a misunderstanding, it's manipulation. Let's look at the next sign you might be dealing with a manipulator. Indicator number 3, constantly shifting blame. Another clear sign of manipulation is when someone never takes responsibility. No matter what happens, it's always someone else's fault, usually yours. You bring up something that hurt you, and somehow by the end of the conversation, you're the one apologizing. They miss a deadline, it's because you were too distracting. They explode in anger, you made them do it. This behavior is called blame shifting, and it's a way manipulators avoid accountability by flipping the script. The more they do it, the more you start internalizing the blame. Maybe I did overreact. Maybe I could have explained myself better. But here's the truth. We're all responsible for our own actions, especially how we respond under pressure. Constantly being blamed for someone else's moods, mistakes, or outbursts is a classic manipulation tactic designed to keep you off balance and constantly in the wrong. It's also a way to silence your concerns, because if everything's always your fault, what right do you have to speak up? If you're always the one apologizing in a relationship or at work, even when you're just trying to set a boundary, it might be time to step back and ask, whose responsibility is this really? Let's move to the next indicator. Indicator number 4, love bombing followed by withdrawal. At first it feels like a dream. You're showered with attention, affection, praise, text messages all day, deep talks all night. You feel chosen, special, even a little overwhelmed, in a good way. This is called love bombing, and while it may seem romantic, it's often the opening move in a manipulation cycle. Love bombing isn't genuine affection, it's excessive flattery and attention used to create emotional dependency fast. The manipulator builds you up, makes you feel incredible, then, suddenly, they pull away. They go cold. They stop responding. They criticize you, and you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? This emotional whiplash creates anxiety and confusion, making you crave the warmth they gave you before. You may start working harder to earn back their approval, without realizing they're controlling you with inconsistency. This push-pull dynamic isn't love, it's a psychological trap. True love and connection grow steadily over time. Manipulators, on the other hand, rush intimacy to gain control, then withdraw it to keep you chasing that initial high. If someone goes from 100 to 0 and leaves you emotionally scrambling, it's not your fault, it's a tactic. Let's look at the next red flag. Indicator number 5, undermining your confidence subtly. Not all manipulation is loud or aggressive. Sometimes it's quiet, disguised as concern, sarcasm, or offhand comments that slowly eat away at your confidence. You might hear things like, "You're really going to wear that? I'm just looking out for you. You always take things the wrong way." These remarks may seem harmless at first, but over time they plant doubt. You begin to second-guess your decisions, your talents, even your personality. That's exactly the goal. This tactic is called subtle undermining. It's when someone chips away at your self-esteem just enough to make you feel small, insecure, or dependent on their approval. The worst part, it's often masked as feedback or humor, so if you speak up you might be met with, "You're overreacting." This keeps you quiet and stuck. Healthy people build you up. Manipulators make you feel just not quite good enough, so you rely on them to define your worth. If you've started questioning your capabilities in a relationship, friendship, or even at work, ask yourself, did I always feel this way? Or did it start when they entered the picture? Let's move on to the next sign of manipulation. Indicator number 6. Isolating you from others. One of the most powerful manipulation tactics is isolation, and it doesn't always happen in obvious ways. It might start with small comments like, "I don't think your friends really support you." "Your family doesn't understand our relationship." Or even, "Why do you need them when you have me?" Slowly you begin spending less time with others. You cancel plans. You stop opening up to people who used to know you best. Before you know it, your world revolves around them, and they like it that way. Why? Because isolation gives a manipulator more control. If you're cut off from outside perspectives, you're less likely to question their behavior or seek help. Healthy relationships encourage connection and independence. Manipulative ones make you feel guilty for having any life outside of them. If someone makes you choose between them and everyone else, it's not love, it's control. Let's continue. Indicator number 7. Passive-aggressive communication. Manipulators often avoid direct conflict, not because they're peaceful, but because they prefer control through confusion. Enter passive-aggressive communication. Instead of saying what they really feel, they use sarcasm, silence, or veiled insults to express frustration or assert dominance. Examples include, "Wow, must be nice to have so much free time. I guess I'll just do it myself, like always." Or the classic silent treatment, where you're left guessing what went wrong. This kind of behavior keeps you on edge. You're forced to read between the lines, apologize for things you're not even sure happened, and constantly manage their moods. The goal? To punish or manipulate without being openly accountable. In a healthy relationship, people communicate clearly, even when it's uncomfortable. Passive-aggressive patterns are a red flag that someone is trying to control outcomes while avoiding responsibility. Let's take a look at the next indicator. Indicator number 8. Using your secrets against you. One of the most hurtful manipulation tactics is when someone takes what you've shared in confidence, your fears, insecurities, past mistakes, and uses them against you. At first, they might seem like a safe space. They listen, ask questions, encourage you to open up. But over time, those personal details get twisted into weapons. You might hear things like, "No wonder your last relationship ended. You're doing the same thing now. You always overreact. Even you said that's one of your issues. If people knew what you told me, they'd see who you really are." This is emotional blackmail, designed to keep you silent, obedient, or ashamed. It creates fear of being exposed, judged, or abandoned. In healthy relationships, vulnerability is met with care, not control. If someone turns your trust into leverage, that's not a partner, friend, or mentor. It's a manipulator. And the longer it goes on, the more power they gain. If you've noticed someone throwing your words back at you in arguments or threatening to expose your past, don't ignore it. That's not love or honesty. It's a tactic. Let's move on to the next red flag. Indicator number 9. Creating a sense of urgency or pressure. Manipulators often use urgency to force decisions before you have time to think clearly. You might hear things like, "If you don't decide now, I'll assume you're not serious. This opportunity won't come again. Why are you hesitating? Don't you trust me?" By creating pressure, they bypass your logic and make you react out of fear, guilt, or obligation. The goal is to keep you off balance, so you don't pause to question whether this decision is right for you. This tactic shows up in toxic relationships, high-pressure sales, even at work, and it works because we're wired to avoid missing out or disappointing others. But here's the truth: healthy people respect your need for time and space. Manipulators don't. If someone constantly rushes you into choices that benefit them, slow down and ask yourself why they don't want you to think. Let's move to the final indicator. Indicator number 10. They play the victim constantly. Manipulators often avoid taking responsibility by making themselves look like the victim, even when they're the one in the wrong. Let's say you bring up something they did that hurt you. Instead of apologizing or having a real conversation, they act hurt, offended, or overly emotional. Suddenly, they're the one who's upset, and you're the one saying sorry. You might hear, "So now you're threatening me? I can't believe you'd think that about me." In the end, instead of talking about how you feel, you're trying to calm them down, comforting them, reassuring them, and backing off from your original point. This is a way of shifting attention away from their behavior. It makes you feel guilty, so you stop setting boundaries or speaking up. But remember, people who care about you take responsibility. They don't make you feel bad for trying to express yourself. Why these tactics work? Manipulation works because it targets your emotions, not your logic. These tactics are designed to confuse, exhaust, and wear down your sense of reality over time. They exploit your best traits, your empathy, your desire to avoid conflict, your hope for peace, and your willingness to give people the benefit of the doubt. A skilled manipulator knows how to twist those qualities into vulnerabilities. You start questioning yourself, second-guessing your instincts, and eventually, you rely on them to define what's normal. And here's the kicker. Even smart, strong, emotionally intelligent people can fall into this trap. Why? Because manipulation doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small moments that feel easy to dismiss, until they add up and you realize you've lost your voice. That's why recognizing these red flags is so powerful. Awareness is the first step toward reclaiming your boundaries and your peace of mind. What to do if you recognize these signs? If these signs feel familiar, take a deep breath. You're not alone, and you're not overreacting. Recognizing manipulation is a powerful first step toward taking back your control. Here's what to do next. Validate your experience. Gaslighting and blame shifting can make you doubt yourself. Remind yourself, if something feels wrong, it probably is. Start documenting behavior. Keep notes or journal entries of specific comments, patterns, and how they make you feel. This isn't about proving something to others. It's about staying grounded in your own reality. Set clear boundaries. You don't need to justify your limits. A healthy person will respect them. A manipulator will push back. That's your clue. Reach out to someone you trust. Isolation loses power when you reconnect with friends, family, or a therapist who can help you see things clearly. prioritize your mental health, whether that means taking space, seeking counseling, or leaving the relationship entirely. Choose what supports your well-being. You deserve relationships that are rooted in respect, not control. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Let's wrap up with some final thoughts and how you can help others spot these signs too. Manipulation can be subtle, sneaky, and emotionally exhausting, but once you start seeing the patterns, you can start breaking free from them. You're not crazy, weak, or too sensitive. You're just human, and no one deserves to be controlled or diminished. If even a few of these signs resonated with you, take it as a cue to reflect, reconnect with your support system, and reclaim your voice. And remember, you're not alone. So many people struggle with these dynamics without realizing it. That's why this conversation matters. If this video helped you, please give it a like, subscribe for more content like this, and share it with someone who might need it. You never know who's silently going through the same thing. Drop a comment below. Have you experienced any of these tactics? Which one hit hardest? Let's talk about it. Let's support each other.